Good to know you there watching. The Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress, TUC, have declared an indefinite strike, which will begin on October 3 this year. In a communique read by the two presidents, they say the indefinite strike is due to the alleged insensitivity of the government to the sufferings of Nigerians as a result of the removal of petrol subsidy. Also, the decision to go on the indefinite strike was reached due to the continuous demonstration of unwillingness and complete lack of initiative by the government. The decision was reached despite the plea by the Minister of Labour and Productivity, Simon Lalong, for more time.
Deliberated on the continued refusal of the federal government to engage in a meaningful and constructive dialogue within the ambit of good faith, given the 21 days ultimatum and the subsequent successful 2 days nationwide strike of the 5th and 6th of September and other meetings that were supposed to demonstrate the preparedness of the Nigerian workers to push through their decision to embark on an indefinite nationwide strike if their demands were not met.
Consequently, the NLC and TUC NEC in section resolved as follows. 1. To, in the spirit of the Independence Day celebration, and to demonstrate our resolve for a truly independent Nigeria, to take our destinies in our own hands and rescue our nation. 2. To embark on an indefinite and total shutdown of the nation beginning on 0 hours, Tuesday, the 3rd day of October 2023. 3. To direct all workers in Nigeria to withdraw their services from their respective workplaces commencing from the 3rd of October 2023. 4. To direct all affiliates and state councils to immediately start mobilizing accordingly for action to organize street protests and rally until government responds positively to our demands. 5. To enjoin all patriotic Nigerians to join hands across the nation to assist this government, put the people back at the center of its policies and programs.
The president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Ajaero, joins us now to speak on the development so far. Good to see you, Comrade Ajaero, and thanks for your time. And the big question from Nigerians will be, why now?
Well, it seems
if not now,
okay.
When? If not now, when? 4 months after removal of subsidy. People are down, people are weak. Subsidy removal without consultation. Subsidy removal without a well thought out palliative or even wage adjustment. Why must it be the worker that is down already that must continue to sacrifice? The time is now.
Right. I mean, you make a very, very important point there that Nigerians are down at this time. And if you agree and accept that they're down, don't you think an already bad situation could be made worse socioeconomically for Nigerians if this strike really does go ahead?
In the labor palace, a slave has nothing to lose than his chain. He that is down needs no fall. That is our position. It can be worse than this. It can be worse than this, that a worker can't go to work, he can't feed, he can't pay for his children's school fees. He can't even survive on 1 loaf of bread per day. Every day suffering. The worker goes to the office and sleeps in the office, takes his bath in the office, manage to get bread or akara to eat till the next week when he will go home and come back. When we have almost become destitute in the midst of plenty. And we are talking of why now on a bad situation. Nigeria shall rise again. If the worker doesn't earn his wage, the traders will not sell, the businessmen will not sell, industrialists will not perform. It is only when we earn our wage, that we purchase, the purchasing power, and then businesses grow, the economy grows. If anybody tells you that the economy is growing when there is no purchasing power, the person is lying.
Comrade Ajaero, the question again that should bother many Nigerians, everyone thought you've been meeting with the government. When you say the government is insensitive, there were times we saw you and TUC have some kind of meeting with the government.
Yeah, when you say insensitive, if you don't meet with people, you won't know whether they are sensitive to issues or not issues. In all the meetings we attended, and in all the meetings where we made proposals, certain understanding on how to go, there's no approach to it, there's no response to it. Nothing has been achieved. From item 1 to item 7, or item 1 to item 5, nothing has been achieved. Is that not the height of insensitivity? Insensitivity doesn't mean when you don't meet. It is even worse when you meet and the person starts to look at you, or the person use, silence as a strategy. The person uses laziness as a strategy, that when you are tired, you leave. That's what we are seeing.
So what you're saying, in effect, is that the meetings that you had with the federal government, both organized labor and TUC, when you left those meetings, you did not leave satisfactorily. There were no commitments on the part of government that you could take home?
None. None at all. Even in the first meetings where committees were set up, the committees don't meet. They have not met. No convocation of meetings, no convocation of committee meetings to deliberate, even to be talking. No calls, no meetings. It is only at the point, at the eve of any strike notice that we meet. The first one was at the eve of a strike notice that they brought injunction, and we met and got an agreement. That agreement has not been converted to the level of implementation. And the next time was at the time we wanted to protest, and there were threats to jail us, and then we had another meeting. The next one they called us for another meeting was at the point, at the eve of the warning strike. Now the other one is this one now at the eve of NLC, expiration of ultimatum. So you can see, at the eve of it. And each time we meet at the eve and say, okay, let us give them more time, Nigeria will say they have settled them. They have given them money. Now if you watch, even when the minister asks for more time, by Monday, when we are thinking of commencing the action, that will be another 2 weeks. Time, give us time, give us time, give us time. And nothing is happening. By the next 3 days, that will be 4 months after the subsidy was removed. Nothing has happened. So for goodness sake, nobody will think we are insensitive or we have not tried. Ordinarily, the subsidy should not have been removed without making provision for the consequences arising from it.
Now let's, because this is getting a little bit messy, talking about the Labour Minister Simon Lalong asking for more time, and you've said this is not the first time he's asked for time, and now it brings us to the question of is it too difficult for Labour to give the government one more chance? For instance, he's asked that you give the government one more time, perhaps that this could be the last.
I don't know what is meant by one more time. How many one more times will be enough? You give one time, give one more time, give one more time. Labour is not there for endless time. And I don't think that any Nigerian will say one more time when people are dying. One more time when people cannot get themselves out of the hospital. This is an emergency situation. So to ask for one more time is even a crime. Nobody, the pressure we are passing through in the 2 labor centers is not such that anybody could canvass for one more time. And anybody that's canvassing for one more time is not sensitive to the plight of Nigerian workers and Nigerian masses. That's the situation today.
So Nigeria celebrates or marks, if you like, 63rd Independence Day, 1st October on Sunday, I believe. And it is only natural that we'll be hearing from the president as he makes a nationwide speech. In the event that he addresses some of your demands in that speech, don't you think can anything change between now and then?
Well, he may ignite, responses by his address. If on the 1st of October, he comes up with address mentioning some of our demands, that is equally a kind of, imposing wages and whatever on us. They are not coming out of a conscious negotiation between labor and government. You don't just say, "Oh, I'll give you 1 naira." That would be mere tokenism. If we have agreed on 1 or 2 things and the president goes ahead to announce it, it's a product of consensus. It's a product of negotiation. It's a product of collective bargaining, that give and take, that will arrive at something. It's not just on that day, I give you one naira. That may even elicit more reactions to it. Ordinarily, the best method has been that of negotiation, and that is what matters.
Well, as you work towards this, one thing you raised earlier on, how concerned are you when you say some Nigerians would think that the leadership of Labour can be compromised?
How what?
How worried are you? Because you said sometimes Nigerians will say, well, Labour people have been bribed, they've been given money. How concerned are you with such statements from the larger society?
Yeah, very, very, very concerned. I have spent the greater part of my adult life in trade unionism. I have been the General Secretary of the National Union of Electricity Employees for years, over a decade. And I have been involved in negotiation, privatization, and whatever. At no time did any government, no minister, no president, who say he dangled 1 naira before me because they dare not do it. And at the point, at the twin light of my profession now, as the president of NLC, some people are paid on daily basis to say they have settled them, they have paid them, and all that. That worries me so much. If you open the social media, you see people making comments. Ordinarily, as a person, you shouldn't gloss over it. But that's what is happening in this country. People are paid to now say, oh, they have collected money, they have done this. That is not the society we're all aspiring for. And I can ask you, go and ask those of them that have been ministers in the power sector, from Batinaji to date. Ask their MDs, and we have walked through this line. And at this point, somebody is saying they have compromised them when we are struggling for the betterment of the workers. I knew my mission on earth, and to struggle for the betterment of the downtrodden is a task that must be accomplished. So all those distractions, don't bother some of us.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ajaero is the NLC president. He's saying this strike is not a face-saving move. It's for the betterment of Nigerians. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight tonight.